We're not on pause. We're actually recording.
Okay.
Hey there, it's Ben and Barry on football, having a little bit of fun. Talking about some of our favorite trio who actually played football on one of their shows, the Three Stooges. You know.
That's a great episode, by the way.
Oh man, I'm telling you. A running back could learn some things from how to hide the ball in the back of your jersey,
under your shirt,
shirt when you run into stuff like that. Yes, we love the Three Stooges.
We did that play in a pickup game. Oh, who was our quarterback? It was like a Statue of Liberty. Yes.
When we were playing pickup?
Yes. I think I did. I went like this and stuck it on his shirt and just started walking. Mace did it and just started walking. And everybody was looking to where he threw the ball. And once they and he's just walking. So they're like, okay, where is the ball? You don't remember that? Oh, I know we did. I know we did it. I know it. I don't think he scored, but yeah, because after a while they're like, wait, what's that under your shirt?
The guy that's pregnant in the back. The baby in the back.
But anyway, we digress.
We really digressed that time, didn't we? This is the matchup show. Ben and Barry on football. My name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. My compadre here is...
My name is Ben Dickerson. I love the New York Giants, and I love the NFL.
Our story is basically we've been arguing about football. We're best friends, and we've been arguing about football for 30 to 40 years now. So we decided to put it on YouTube, so you could get a laugh at it and maybe find some information. A lot of our information is based on my page called the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings, where we look at teams based on net points. We rank them based on net points. And when we look at the matchups, we kind of line them up based on net points. We look at their points scored, their points against, and their turnover differential. And when you're looking at teams and you're comparing them in terms of net points, basically we have something called the bias. And the bias means that the team with the greater net points, that means that they've just done that much better up to this point. Now, whether they're going to continue to do that well or whether they're going to be able to do that well in this next game, it's a question about that. But we have a pretty good probability where the bias maintains itself. And then we take it to another level where we have what's called the bias plus, where we combine that net point bias concept with the turnover margin bias concept. So if you've got a team that turns the ball over a lot, they lose the ball a lot, maybe they're -6 in turnovers, and they're playing a team that's +5 in turnovers. That's a net 11 turnover margin differential going in the favor of the team with the 5. So that's how we kind of look at it. It might sound a little confusing at first, but hang with us. As a matter of fact, if you see the subscriber button there, make sure you click the subscriber button, click the bell so you'll get notifications, and then you'll be able to follow along as we continue through the rest of the season. Now, we're going into week 12, which will end the first 3 quarters of the 2018 season.
It will also end all the bye weeks.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I'm a little melancholy that we're 3 quarters of the way through the season. Once the season's over, then,
Come on, man. The Sixers got Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that is true.
There's life after football.
I'm a Bulls fan, so it ain't helping me there.
Sorry about that.
But it is fun. He hit a three-pointer to seal the game for him not too long ago. So, yeah, there are some other things to do, but we are, first and foremost, football fans. So let's get ready to get right into the matchups. And, when I first started putting this together, Ben, when I was looking at the matchups, I was a little confused because I'm looking at it and I'm seeing Thursday and I'm looking at one game and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there are 2 other games here. They're supposed to be on Sunday. Oh, wait.
It's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, sir.
There's 3 games on Thanksgiving. So we're gonna lead right into the 3 games that you'll be sharing with your turkey or watching while you're taking care of that turkey or whatever it is.
These are in order of when they're played too, aren't they?
They probably are.
I think they are.
Because they probably are. So let's look at number 1. The away team, Bears going to visit the Detroit Lions, who just beat the Panthers on a play that you and I debated vigorously prior to the show.
Extremely vigorously.
Where the Panthers made that decision to go for it and win the game as opposed to kick the extra point with 1:07 left and put their faith in their defense, et cetera, et cetera. But the Lions came out of that, and they were a 68-point net point underdog, a bias plus underdog, I believe, going into that game. They're playing the Bears. Right now, the Bears have a net point bias in their favor of 140 net points. That's pretty big. And they have a turnover margin bias in their favor of 18, giving the Bears the second to largest bias plus score in their favor of the weekend, of the football weekend, of 158 as a bias plus score in their favor for the Bears.
Okay.
The Bears.
So under normal circumstances, I would just jump in here and say my famous "nothing to see here," folks. The Bears handled Detroit at home just a couple of weeks ago. I think they played. However, Mitchell Trubisky has somehow hurt his shoulder, and he is at this point. He has not practiced. Today is Wednesday, so I haven't gotten a report about practice today yet. But yesterday he was held out of practice, and he's being listed as day to day. With the game coming up tomorrow, I think I would be leaning toward him not playing. In which case, we're looking at Chase Daniel. So you might want to temper expectations a little bit for the Bears as far as how well they play overall. But I think their defense is good enough to take care of getting the win. Detroit is no slouch, especially in division games, and especially at home. But I got to go with the Bears.
You brought up a great point relative to division games because their division games are a little different.
Right.
You know,
and it's Thanksgiving, which they always play in Detroit on Thanksgiving. This is a special day for them. So if the Bears don't win, don't kill me. Like, you know what I mean? They got a lot of stuff going against them right now with Trubisky being out. And the Lions have a lot of things going for them in their favor. So I'm just going to lean on the fact that the Bears are flat out supposedly a better team than the Lions and leave it like that.
But the winner gets the turducken, right? Or the three-legged turkey.
Yeah, or six-legged duck or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, that's something to play for. 158-point bias in favor of the Bears. Redskins, Dallas. Another division game. We counted 8 division games this weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things are going to be weird all weekend long with division games. The Redskins are going into Dallas. Dallas has a 140 net point bias in their favor, but the Redskins have a turnover margin bias in their favor. 12, moderating the bias score down, but still in Dallas's favor to 128.
The Skins have a lot of negative momentum, if that's not an oxymoron, in their favor. The Cowboys have a lot of positive momentum in theirs. It's in Jerry World. We'll keep it simple. This is the dinner time game. This is the game you're going to watch while you got the TV tray. You know, if whoever cooks at your house allows you to watch the game while you're eating Thanksgiving dinner. Some people don't do that, you know. So the Detroit Bears game, that's the game where everybody's starting to come over and you just got snacks out. You just break out the beers. This is the dinner time game. So hopefully Dallas won't give anybody any indigestion. I'm kind of rooting for them myself. I like what they're doing. I've always liked Dak. Not that I think he's great or anything. I just like him. So I'm leaning toward Dallas in this one strongly.
Well, you know, when you look at the net point scenario here, the Redskins are coming in at 16th with minus 127 net points.
Yep.
So while they've been pretty good on defense, they're 5th. Dallas at least is in the positive on net points with 13.
Exactly.
And they're 3rd on defense. So they're pretty close defensively. But offensively, big difference in terms of or net points, big difference in terms of what's going on here. The Redskins coming in at 16th and Dallas coming in at 12. Not a big difference. You know.
I mean, actually, to me, the big thing that the Skins have in their favor is they're breaking out.
I'm sorry, 27th for the Redskins and 25th for Dallas.
Okay, but to me, the big thing that could be in the Redskins' favor is the fact that they're trotting Colt McCoy out there at quarterback. Now you might say, "Oh, Alex Smith, that was the starter." I'm not saying Colt McCoy is better than Alex Smith. What I'm saying is nobody's got any film on this guy. He hasn't played in a live game in like 2 or 3 years, probably. That can be a problem in the NFL.
And he's not a new guy. It's not like he's a rookie.
And he's a seasoned veteran who's been there for several years and knows the offense inside out. Runs scout team stuff, runs,
the other team
second
stuff.
Unit and all that stuff. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
He's probably played Dak in practice.
Exactly. So he got all the first team reps here, and he should be ready to go. That could prove to be a problem for the Dallas defense, but we shall see.
Falcons, Saints. Man.
I'm glad this is the third game, because this is the after game when everybody gets the itis because they had too much to eat and they be kind of drifting off, you know what I mean? And then they had one beer too many, and now they break it out the good liquor. So you got to hang in there, but the Saints are going to entertain you.
The Saints have a net point bias in their favor of 152 net points. And a turnover margin bias of 4, giving them the fourth highest bias plus score in their favor of 156. And the thing with the Falcons is this. They're part of that new wave of offense. They can score. They just are a bit defensively challenged.
A bit?
They're coming in 27th ranked on defense. And, the Saints are 15th, so they're right in the middle of the pack. But that their offense is just a bit more prolific than the Falcons' offense. Points for the Falcons
more prolific. Whoa, let's slow down a little bit. Their offense is a bit more prolific.
Well, the Falcons are 9th. They put up 263. The Saints are 3rd. They put up 378. So that's okay.
That's a little bit more than a bit more prolific.
60, 17, 90, it's almost 100 points.
Exactly. Now
I was understating it.
That's okay. That's all right. But when you combine that with the huge disparity in points against, pretty huge, 15th to 27th.
Yeah, well,
oh, okay.
239 to 276. So a lot closer on defense than it is on offense.
Okay. You can say that, but if you watch the games and you watch the teams, you understand that one team is far better on defense than the other. Right. But again, the Saints will prove it to you. If you can stay awake and watch the game, you'll see.
Yeah, I think this and the thing is with the Falcons, again, division, strange things happening. Falcons played some people really well, Julio, he might actually find the end zone more than once, Could happen. How about the Sunday slate of games?
Sunday.
Jaguars, Buffalo. Jaguars are going into Buffalo. They're going to come up from the warm to the cold. The Jaguars have a net point bias in their favor of 71. Buffalo has a turnover margin bias in their favor of 2, giving the Jaguars a bias plus score in their favor of 69. And we will note that both teams are operating in the negative. So when you say bias plus, one's just less negative than the other. And the Jaguars just played the Steelers to the hilt.
You could say that. I'd like to say they played a lot better than they had played the previous couple of weeks.
Again, you said your running back is back?
Fournette is back. That made a big difference for them because they didn't have to rely so much on Blake Bortles. It's obvious that they're trying to keep the ball on the ground and play strong defense, old school wise, to try to win games because they do not believe in their passing game. They do not believe in their quarterback at all. They want to minimize his throws as much as they possibly can. This game's going to be interesting, though. The funny thing is, both offenses have struggled. But strangely enough, although people didn't want to give Buffalo's defense much credit, they're pretty good. And although we gave the Jaguars defense a whole ton of credit, they haven't necessarily lived up to it. Add to that the frigid temperatures. What do you think? Who say you?
Well, if you're asking me, I just look at the numbers.
I know. I usually throw out the winner.
The Jaguars are ninth on defense, and Buffalo is 19th. Buffalo is 32nd in scoring. The Jaguars are 29th. So they're, neither team is really scoring a lot.
That's right.
But the Jaguars have their starting quarterback. They've got Fournette. And in the cold weather,
you're counting Blake Bortles as a plus?
Well, wait a minute. I'm just saying they've got Fournette. They found this is their normal formula for being competitive. And in cold weather, you want to have a run game.
Give you that.
They got that. Shady's still running.
That's right.
Now, if it snows, the Jaguars in trouble because remember what we said last year, they don't know about Shady in the snow. Ooh. Yeah, that could change things up a lot if it actually snows. But I haven't checked the weather up there. A warm weather team coming up into the frigid could really work in the Bills' favor. But who's quarterback for the Bills? Yeah. So that's not helping.
No. It's Derek Anderson, isn't it?
He came out, was it 2 weeks ago, a week or so ago?
Yeah.
And put up big points out of the clear blue?
Yeah. He's at least as good as Blake Bortles.
Yeah, well, he didn't pull him out of the basement in terms of offense. I mean, let's face it, you're still in last place.
I'm taking Buffalo. Okay, I said it. I'm taking Buffalo at home.
You stretched that head out. It's a little too tight. Browns, Bengals, the battle for the Ohio, where the players are. The Ohio players. Browns are coming in at 3-6-1. The Bengals at 5-5. Good matchup. Browns are 24th in net points. The Bengals are 56th. Let's go to the bottom line on the matchup here. You've got the Browns with a net point bias of 11, and the Browns with a turnover margin bias of 9. I still got that 5 in my brain from that they turnovers they got against the Steelers, giving the Browns a bias plus score of 20, and the Bengals are home.
Means absolutely nothing.
Browns and the Bengals.
Baker Mayfield is dangerous. It's like he said, I don't know what happened. I woke up this morning, I felt dangerous. Threw 3 touchdown passes against the aforementioned Falcons at their field, I think. I could be wrong about that. Spreading the ball around, and Nick Chubb is running the ball very well.
Oh, Nick Chubb.
Yes,
Man.
Nick Chubb, a guy who got off to a bit of a slow start because the Browns couldn't make up their minds who they wanted their running back to be.
Hyde Chubb. I still think that's a heck of a combination, Hyde and Chubb. But
Who's
the guy coming in?
They did something wrong. Johnson.
Cherry?
I forget his first name. But anyway, I don't think this is going to be much of a contest. I don't see any way, the way Cincinnati's been playing, that they're going to be able to stop the Browns' offense. I really don't. All in on the Browns.
Okay, that's a rather 20 net point bias score. It's still good, somewhat slim. And again, that turnover margin bias isn't as big as the 9 points seem to think. But okay, Browns is Brown. Let's go. Patriots, Jets, division game. Oh, and I didn't mention before Browns Bengals division game.
Division game, yeah. Not a big division game.
Weird stuff. This is the Halloween stuff that happens. Not even on Halloween when you have division game. Patriots, Jets. Patriots with a 90 net point bias in their favor and an 11 turnover margin bias in their favor, giving them a bias plus score in their favor of 101. What are the Jets going to do about it?
Nothing. Patriots just coming off the bye. Give Belichick an extra week to game plan. Gronkowski is about as healthy as he's going to get. Sony Michel is healthy again. Edelman's about as healthy as he's going to get. All weapons are in place. Well, there's nothing wrong with James White. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be bad for the Jets. This might be the straw that broke the camel's back and get the coach fired.
Oh, it's firing time.
Yeah, it's firing time. And they're at home, too. Oh, the Bluebirds will be out.
Okay. Speaking of Bluebirds.
Speaking of Bluebirds, that was a good segue. I didn't even mean that. That was great. I can't even take credit for that.
All right. We have the New York Giants going into Philadelphia. Division game. Division up for grabs. Nobody showing any real dominance within the division.
They're not?
Philadelphia has a net point bias in their favor of 22 net points.
However,
both teams are in the negative. So Philly is a little less negative than the Giants. I'll let you have your comment in a second. Let me just finish up because the Giants have a turnover margin bias of 11.
What? They do?
In their favor, yeah, because the Eagles have been turnover prone there.
They have?
Yes, they have.
Oh, my.
Giving the ball up a little, but that gives Philadelphia a bias plus score in the Eagles' favor of 11.
11. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty slim.
That's real slim.
That's pretty slim.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you got there, mister?
So we done went from we the Super Bowl champs to I don't know what's wrong. It must be the coach.
I think the cornerback for the Eagles, what's his name?
Who cares?
Said that he had a talk with them. He explained
what
was wrong. Malcolm
Jenkins said what?
He's diagnosed their problem, their little mental thing.
He has, or the coach has?
No, he has his own little thing that he said.
And he talked to the other players. They had like little players meeting.
I don't say they didn't have a player. No, he just said what he thought was wrong with them mentally. Yeah, it was going off in the wrong direction. He put some straightening. He didn't take it out. Malcolm Jenkins. See what he had to say about what's wrong with the Eagles, and But
I tell you what's wrong with the Eagles.
Go ahead.
And if that mental thing he's talking about is true, then that just adds insult to injury. What's wrong with the Eagles is they ain't got no playmakers on defense. Their secondary is depleted. These boys are not looking good.
Are you saying they're right?
I'm saying they're
right?
overripe. I'm saying they're bordering on rotten.
Oh my God.
They're so overripe.
I do have to temper him sometimes.
Dude, these are facts. Eagles. It just so happens that it's the Eagles, but these are facts. Their secondary is weak. They know it's weak. Their fans know it's weak. Everybody knows it's weak. Okay? They're not playing the run as well as they were early on. And their defensive line is not able to get the kind of pressure that they need to help out the weak secondary. Hence, they're giving up more yards on the ground, okay, because teams are able to come at them more balanced. You can do almost anything you want on the Eagles defense right now if you have the weapons. And guess what? You can talk about Eli Manning all you want, but the Giants got weapons, okay? I don't know if anybody's even been watching Sterling Shepard. I don't even have to mention OBJ yet. If you've been watching Sterling Shepard over the week, consistent.
All right, wait. Let me talk about weapons. Let's talk about the weapon first.
No, I'm saving him for last because the weapon.
Oh, you're not finished.
No, I'm not finished. I'm not even gonna bring up OBJ. That's too easy. So we'll go right to the weapon because the weapon's called the gift, and that's Saquon Barkley. I'm telling you, dude, I'm gonna stop. I'm taking the Giants.
Last week I told you that I thought that all of the people who were beating up on the Giants for taking Saquon as opposed to a quarterback Again, we call him the gift because we felt as if he was a gift to Eli in terms of extending his career, and really right now it's really starting to pay dividends. I mean, what he's doing game after game after game is absolutely amazing. And is his name coming up as it should when they talk about top running backs in the league?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Is he getting that level?
Yes, it is.
I hadn't, wasn't sure about that.
No, I think he's leading the league in offensive touches for running backs at least.
But I'm talking about when the media starts to talk about the top running backs. I mean, they're talking about the Kansas City running backs. They're talking about the Rams.
Well, mostly they talk about Gurley.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Gurley. They talk about Connor because of the Le'Veon situation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk
statistically is at the top.
They really don't talk about Hunt that much, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. It's all going to shake out.
All right,
it's all going to shake out.
So you're going against the bias.
Absolutely.
All right. I never trust him on his own team. He's going to go with his team.
I got facts to back me up this time, bro.
Facts to back you up.
They're going to have more than a team meeting to win this one.
Well, here's my turn now with the facts to back me up. 49ers have to go in and play the Bucs.
West Coast to East Coast. What time is that game, bro? You better check the game time.
God.
If it's 1 o'clock, it's not good.
1 o'clock.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
No,
I'm pretty
no,
sure it's
Lord.
gotta be 1 o'clock.
No, Lord.
The Niners have a net point bias in their favor of 26 net points and an 8 turnover margin bias in the Niners'
you got something
favor,
in your favor.
giving us a bias plus score in our favor of 34. And we have Nick and time, baby. Nick and time. I'm the Madden guy.
Mullen. I love
and
Nick Mullen.
even the Madden gods now have raised his awareness level. He came in the season at a 60.
Mm-hmm.
They've raised his awareness
Which
level.
Which is probably a general number because they're like, well, you got to have something because he's a quarterback.
Right, but he's a rookie guy or didn't get much playing time, that type of thing. But it's amazing his awareness now is higher than C.J. Beathard's.
He earned it.
His
number's straight earned.
So Nick and time going in, and we talked about Tampa Bay and their quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
Turnover prone, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put the two quarterbacks together, you kind of have one decent quarterback. He still turns the ball over a little too much, but can score, but can put the ball up there, can put some points on the board. These guys are the quintessential of this year's high-scoring, low defense team. You got your Bucs coming in. Let me take a quick look at this here. At 29th overall with minus 62. They are 8th in scoring and 32nd in giving up points.
They're 8th in scoring?
Yeah, they put up points.
I know they do, but I didn't even think they were that high.
They put up serious points. Now, my Niners are 18th in scoring, okay, and 26th in defense. But long story short, they're two teams, and we're just less negative than they are. So this is going to be an interesting game. I'm really interested to see
if you are able to
Nick Mullen can
real quick see if you can find out what time that game is, because I really believe in the West Coast to East Coast 1 o'clock game jinx. I really do. But if this isn't a 1 o'clock game, I really want to go with the Niners. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, when you look at the quarterbacks, if you're thinking fantasy, if you had Fitzpatrick when he got off to the fast start and everybody called him Fitzmagic, and then he sputtered, people dropped him, and he grabbed Jameis. And then Jameis put up huge numbers, even in losing efforts.
1 o'clock.
Oh, boy. He put up huge numbers. He put up touchdowns. So, although if you're a Bucs fan, you're mad because they lost, but if you got him in fantasy, you're happy because he got you a lot of points. Okay? Now they go back to Fitzpatrick, then they go back to Winston. Okay, nobody's talking about taking Mullen in fantasy, but they are talking about Kittle, the tight end, and they are talking about Breida, who should run wild in this game. I don't know about Alfred Morris. Something's not. Him and the line don't seem to be, what's the word, jiving up or whatever. But I expect Breida to have a big game, and I expect Kittle to have his usual great game. That should be enough if Nick is efficient with the ball to get them the victory. If they're smart, you know what, Mike? No. It's Thanksgiving. So they're not going to travel out early. They're going to stay home so everybody can be with their families and stuff. If they fly out Friday, that'd be a plus for them. I don't know how many most NFL teams don't do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll send a letter into my Niners and tell them leave early.
I might be stretching it.
Leave early so you don't have the West Coast, the East Coast, bugaboo going against you there.
I'm gonna go against my normal feelings though, and I'm going to take the Niners in this game. I really am, and I think if Nick performs well, everything's going to fall into place. As long as he doesn't turn it over and do anything crazy, everything should fall into place.
Alrighty. I'm just worried about our defense, especially.
Dude, this might be a Rams-Chiefs game.
That's what I'm saying. Because our defense, especially in the coming down the stretch, they're like, okay, take whatever you want. They just give it up. This is way too much stuff. Yeah. Way too easy to other teams.
This could be one of them games.
So it could be a little mini scoring fest there. Seahawks, Panthers. My sleeper, Seahawks going in to visit the Panthers. The Seahawks have a 22 net point bias in their favor, a 2 turnover margin bias.
Man, this is a toughie.
Making a score of 24 in the bias plus, favoring the Seahawks going into this. The Panthers just lost the game.
That they should have won. Or they should have at least given themselves the opportunity to win. You do agree on that?
Yes. They were big favorites.
We had a little tete-a-tete about this game. But the bottom line here is I think it's time for your sleeper team to make a move. It's going to kind of be on Russell. I did notice that Doug Baldwin, who came in late in the season, around mid-season after coming off of a pretty bad injury and wasn't playing well the first couple games, is starting to wake up, starting to come alive. That's a good thing because he's a major target. Lockett's playing really well. Still got the three-headed monster at running back. And for some reason, the Panthers, as good as they can look at times, just don't seem to be able to just be the team that they should be. I don't get it. They seem like they should be like somebody that's solid on offense, solid on defense, not spectacular, but just because they're losing games that they shouldn't lose.
How do you think about Cam as a pocket quarterback?
I think
on a scale of 10,
he's good in the pocket.
On a scale of 10, where would you rank him?
On a scale
of him relative to the other pocket quarterbacks in the league, who you might call a 10. Like, would you call Brady a 10 in the pocket, for example?
Yes.
Okay. So, pocket presence, Brady 10. Where do you think Cam comes in?
8.
Mm-hmm.
I like his pocket presence. I like his footwork and the way he moves in the pocket. The problem is sometimes when he should just use his footwork and move in the pocket, step up and deliver, things like that, he doesn't. He hesitates, he holds the ball and puts himself in position to get hit or have to run to get out of trouble.
Probably
that's his problem. So I guess that goes against pocket presence because part of your presence is being able to step up and deliver as opposed to and hesitating. So, yes, you're right. I would have to drop you maybe to a 6 or a 7. You're absolutely right. I can't get away from the fact that he can do other things that guys like Brady and them can't do that elevate him overall. But we're only talking about one thing. We're talking about pockets. So, yeah, you're right.
So we've got where do you stand on this particular game there, sir?
Well, in this game, I tell you what, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this game.
My sleeper team.
Yeah, this is also a West Coast, the East Coast. But it's only because it looks pretty close to me. The bias plus is only 24. And I like both teams. I like both quarterbacks. I like both offenses. I just think the Seahawks are ready to make a move, and the Panthers aren't.
Well, you got two mobile quarterbacks.
The Panthers' opportunity to make a serious move was last week, and they didn't do it. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in them.
All righty. Raiders, Ravens have a 179 net point bias in their favor. But give it to the Raiders. They have a turnover margin bias of 1 in their favor. They're a little less negative than the Ravens in terms of turnovers, but the Ravens have a 178 bias plus score in their favor, and that is the largest bias plus of the weekend.
That's amazing. The Ravens are really, really good at keeping the score low, making it difficult for the opposition to score, but they don't turn the ball over. That's weird. Usually good defenses kind of do both.
You mean take the ball from the other team?
Yes, take the ball from the other team. They don't do it. They just don't do it. I don't understand why.
The Raiders are -4 in turnover differential, and the Ravens are -5.
Yeah.
That's why the Raiders got that.
Yeah.
The Raiders are 32nd in net points with -123, and the Ravens are mighty. They're ranked 6.
Again.
With 56, plus 56.
And it's another West Coast to East Coast. Thank you.
So the Ravens should this bias should hold out then.
Absolutely.
This bias should hold up basically.
Absolutely. I don't think the Raiders are going to have much to offer.
Travel East Coast and wear them Ravens out, eh? Gruden wouldn't know what to do with himself.
That's not going to happen, bro.
Yeah,
the Raiders are.
Speaking of not going to happen, Arizona Cardinals are going to go into the LA Chargers and play them.
And the Chargers should be angry with themselves.
Chargers are 156 net point bias favorites and 13 turnover margin bias favorites for the second largest bias plus score in their favor of the weekend of 169. And the Chargers are home.
Yeah, I got to like the Chargers on this one. Although I got to give the Cardinals kudos, or I'll give their coaching staff or whatever kudos for figuring out how to get David Johnson more involved in the offense. They have done that lately, which has made him a real viable force in fantasy. But that's the only really good thing. No, I can say something else good about the Cardinals. They got a pretty good pass defense. If you really dig into the numbers, and I'm not talking about these numbers, I'm talking about the raw defensive
the yardage.
Yeah, yardage and all that stuff and touchdowns. Yeah, so I'll give them that too.
Yeah.
But I think Phillip Rivers and the boys will be able to take care of business.
How is Chargers running back? Is he healthy?
Melvin Gordon's playing great.
Melvin Gordon's playing great. So you talk about getting, Arizona getting their running back into the game. They're going to need him to keep Melvin Gordon.
Well, they should have been taking notes from the Chargers because they get the ball to Gordon in multiple ways. And that's what you have to do when you have a running back like that.
Yeah. Steelers, Broncos. Steelers are 7-2-1, and the Broncos are 4-6 in terms of records.
This is a trap game for the Steelers.
Trap game for the Steelers. Yeah. With the quarterback, former
Case
Vikings quarterback Case Keenum, trapping the Steelers. This is what you're telling me?
I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying it's a trap game. They got to watch themselves.
The Steelers.
They're not going to be able to sleepwalk through it like they did last week.
Steelers have an 81 net point bias in their favor, but the Broncos have the bias of the turnover margin bias in their favor of 5, mitigating that bias plus score, but still in favor of the Steelers to a score of 76.
Number one thing Steelers got to do, control Von Miller. You don't control Von Miller, that's how they got that turnover margin. If you don't control Von Miller, he's either going to force you into throwing a pick or he's going to strip sack you. And he's the king of strip sacks right now. No, besides Khalil Mack, he's probably the best at it. But if you can control him and they can get Connor going again in the running game, they should be fine.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers are 5th in net points. Denver is 17th. So they got -7 net points. They really got to, Case Keenum's going to have to pick it up a little bit because
hopefully it's a game because I have Emmanuel Sanders in a couple of my fantasy teams, and he's a main guy on their offense. So I don't expect him to get shut out or anything. I expect him to be able to move the ball. Keenum doesn't suck. He just isn't what they were hoping for. He's kind of a stopgap for them. I really think they'll be shopping for a quarterback.
Will they be shopping for a coach also? You think their coach is good?
I don't know. I kind of like his name, Vance Joseph. Yeah, I always root for the black quarterbacks, and I always root for black head coaches. So I'm not gonna say nothing bad about him. The only black head coach I don't like has nothing to do with him being black. He could be purple. Marvin Lewis has some pictures of somebody's wife or something. That's the only way he's keeping his job. That's a mini rant. I'm done with that.
Miami Colts. Miami 5-5. Colts are 5-5. Miami's net point ranking is 28 with -57, and the Colts are 8th plus 49. And scoring, they're 5th. They got to the top 5. We talked about that. Whereas Miami in scoring is 26, and Miami's 22nd defensively. Whereas the Colts, however, are 18th defensively. So in the wash, as it comes out here, the Colts have a 106 net point bias in their favor and a turnover margin bias of 1, giving them down at 107. Bias plus score in favor of Colts.
Okay, I have one nice thing to say about Miami. I think Tannehill's coming back this week. But he wasn't doing them when he was healthy anyway. That's it for them. If you have, Game Pass or Sunday Ticket where you can pick whatever game you want, and you haven't had a chance to watch Andrew Luck, and you're wondering how's he looking this year after being out with the show, put this game on and watch him. I think he's going to go to work on these boys.
Okay.
I think he's going to be very impressive in this game.
Really?
Yes. And if you have T.Y. Hilton or Marlon Mack in fantasy, play him.
Okay. Yeah, some fantasy advice there. There you go. Another division matchup to finish out the Sunday. I guess this will be the Sunday night game. Packers going in to play Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. Vikings have a net point bias in their favor of 8. 8 net point differential between those two teams, and they're tied in turnover margin.
Is this the night game?
Yeah.
They're going to force me to watch the two most frustrating teams out there against each other.
The Vikings have a bias plus in their favor of 8 measly little units.
These are the two most frustrating teams, supposed to be good teams that just keep finding ways to stumble and fumble and lose. And I know a lot of Packer fans. Your son is one. My man Blade is another. They don't know what to make of this mess. You want to go with a team that's led by Aaron Rodgers. They've discovered somehow, I don't know why it took them so long to discover that they have a really good running back in Aaron Jones. Okay? Valdez-Scantling is an emerging wide receiver. Devontae Adams, I'm going to put in the upper echelon of receivers and close to that can't-be-covered range that DeAndre Hopkins and AB and Mike Thomas live in. He's getting up there. Okay?
Get some heady company.
Why do they play so bad?
Is the tight end hurt?
Jimmy Graham's he's banged up. I don't know. He didn't play last week, or he played early and left. Why do they play so bad? That's why people are blaming it on the coach. People are saying the coach been around too long time for him to go. I don't know what it is. I believe that as frustrating as both teams are, the Packers' lack of a run defense is what's going to spell their demise. Dalvin Cook is back. He wasn't able to do much last week. I think they're going to turn him loose this week. And Cousins, I mean, Stephon Diggs is healthy again, and he's got freaking Thielen. Thielen can't be covered either, so I got to go with the Vikings on this one. Sorry, Packer fans, but this just ain't y'all year.
Bias, so we shall see.
It's
and
not the Packers' year. Thought it might be, but
the question is now in these tight division games, how is Kirk Cousins, Mr. Guaranteed Income? We got two highly paid quarterbacks here.
Well,
but
yeah,
one I believe
one clearly earned one clearly earned his money, and the other one proved himself worthy of a new contract, but maybe not the one he got. That's the only way I can say it. I don't want to turn on him yet because he hasn't sucked.
Yeah. I'm the one that hasn't been, again, not necessarily not a believer in Kirk, but just, again, it's that contract. Just that contract that he was worth that. But Vikings have the bias plus in their favor. Let's go as we finish this out. Benny, Titans, Houston, another division game. And I think you mentioned this was no, it's not the only AFC. It was three AFC games here. But Titan, Houston, in Houston. Houston has a 45 net point bias in their favor and a 6 turnover margin bias in their favor, giving Houston a bias plus score in their favor of 50.
This is the Monday night game.
Texas in the house. Everything's bigger. It's a division game, so it's weirder.
Well,
and the Titans, well, let's face it. The Titans, if they can't do anything else, they can play defense. They're second, but Houston's 6th.
Right.
You know, Titans are 28th on offense. Houston is 16th.
Okay, that tells me enough right there. Houston's going to win the game. I'm not going to say the crazy thing. The problem with the Titans is inconsistency on offense. The defense plays well practically week after week after week. They may fall victim sometimes to certain offenses where you think, oh, I thought they were better than that. But that's because of game flow, because the offense doesn't score a lot of points. Now Mariota's hurt again. It's a good thing that the game is Monday night, which may give him time to get himself together. The last thing I saw was it was the elbow that he injured before, but they're saying it was just a stinger.
Wow.
So it's just a stinger and there's no real structural damage, then he should be able to play. If he's able to play, that's a boost for the Titans. But Texas.
Deshaun, baby.
Deshaun,
baby. Two exciting young guys again. If Mariota could play, you know,
this might be a good game though. This might be a better game than looks on the surface.
Somewhat equally matched. Now, 51 is not a big. It's not like an 8 net point bias.
No.
But you know, and again, Houston is home, so bias. I would expect that would probably hold also when I look at these. You know, unless the Titans find some offense from somewhere, or their defense starts scoring. One or the other. Special teams. So you don't never forget special teams. You're gonna take a look at because in your points for, and I remember this happened a few seasons back with the Eagles. They were really high in scoring, but they were getting great contributions from special teams for a while.
Absolutely.
And we questioned their offense a little bit because we were like, wait a minute, we know where these points are.
You know what? I forgot to bring that into my argument when the fans are coming at me. I forget to bring that into my argument about how well they played last year, the Super Bowl year. You know, when you try to tell people, you know, things really kind of fell your way, and I can find a string of games where you played where starting quarterbacks were hurt, and you know, you ran back some kicks, and I understand that's part of the team, that's part of the game, that's the third phase of the game, and all that. You're supposed to do that, but these were little abnormal kind of things that go under the guise of things falling into place, you know. So when somebody said, I left that out of my rant last week. Somebody calls you a helmet fan, also says that, oh, those last 2 Super Bowls you won, you weren't the best team. And my answer is simply, but we beat the best team. That same thing goes to the Eagles.
They beat the best team. And again, last year, like you said, sometimes the stars line up for you.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But
don't act like it didn't happen.
On our page, I believe it was on either the Sterling Net Point Power Ranking page or the Ben and Barry on football Facebook pages. We have those two pages running. And they asked, is it time to put Nick Foles in?
Who asked that? Where was that? You saw that on TV?
No, on the page. Somebody wrote that on our social. Social media. It might have been on my personal page.
Okay.
But I'm like, no, not yet. But again,
I wonder if that was a serious question.
Nick Foles, well, I think somebody asked. It's probably still somebody asked that question. But again, what Nick Foles does really good, okay, I don't know if it would work this year because it worked last year because they had the run game. So your RPOs and all of that work really well when the run is a real threat. The Eagles simply, in my case, haven't figured out how to be a threat in the run game yet with the running backs that they have. And you and I, again, we're big, we're fans and friends of Corey Clement. We felt like coming into this, when Ajayi went down, this was Corey Clement time. Josh Adams has been running well. We looked at him and said, this guy could start now, so that's you got, him, Corey, and Smallwood. And I believe you could mount a running game, depending on your line again, with these guys. But the way that they're using their running backs, they diffuse them into the concept so there's no real run attack that somebody is saying, when the Eagles line up, we got to get ready because we know that any moment they're coming at us with the serious run attack. And so just that's not happening. So that's not helping them.
I think Corey and boy Adams are volume runners. So you want to give one or both of them as many carries and touches as you possibly can. If you want to use Smallwood, which they seem like they feel like they just have to use him, okay, then make him the third down back. That's the way I see it. And then you go with the high hand. That's what Denver does. That's how Denver does it.
Well, the problem with him is third down back, depending on what you're trying to run, is Corey is probably the best at picking up blitzes. And that's when they're coming on third down. You know that blitz is coming. Now, whether he's going to leak out and play that type of game, you know what I mean, or stand in there and actually deliver the blocks, is going to be the question.
They got a dilemma because not only is he a better on third down because he's a better pass protector, but he's just as good at running routes and catching the ball. But to me, he's a better first, second down back than Smallwood is too. That's why I say, why do they feel like they need to keep?
Because as I told you, and I don't know if this is true, Eagle fans, let me know, but I don't think that they, in their way that they run their offense, and again, now, right, we talked about how well the Colts are doing, the fact that, Luck has hardly been touched and everything, so he's now gone. The quarterback coach is gone. But, they don't have, by not having that first string, second string running back in that run game, they put their running backs in based on the play more than the fact that this is first down, this guy's going to be in there because when he's
I think that hurts them.
I think it hurts them too. And because there's no run game that the defense, they just have to play the play because there's no run game that they're going to really be worried about. Last year, you knew Blunt was coming.
Right.
He's coming sooner or later, and then the Jai was twisting and turning right behind them.
Right.
So you had to be ready for that on any play.
Right.
Maybe not third and super long, but if it was 3rd and 6, you might still have to be ready for that.
Right, because Corey could come in and pass protect so they can go downfield, or he could swing out, catch it, and gash it for 20.
Like he did in the Super Bowl. So
exactly.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. We are from Philly, so we tend sometimes to devolve into conversations dealing with the Eagles.
And that was a bit of devolution.
Yeah, that was a bit of devolution. But we had some fun. We talked some football. Before we go, we do want to sort of share our social media with you because we can be found in a number of different places. First off, We have the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings. If you're on Facebook, it's at Sterling NPPR. You can always just put in Sterling Net Point Power Rankings up in the search engine, and you will find it. You will know it by these pictures. I like to put out information. We have our net points, our points for charts, and some other great information that you'll be able to use as a foundation for your considerations on the game when you're trying to think about what's going on with the game. I do try to put out the net rankings here, all 32 teams in a graph, and as you can see, about half of the teams are in the negative. So that's one of the things that we found out when we started looking at the net point rankings. Also on Facebook, Ben and Barry on Football. You can find us. Guess who's who? Yeah. This is from 1983, ladies and germs. Right before the championship game, we took a quick pick and went on and became champions together. Yes. And we try to put up good information on our Twitter and on our Facebook pages. When I say good information, here's the 2019 Pro Football Fan Vote. You get a chance to vote on your favorite there. We mentioned the fact that here's our girl, Janelle. Yes. If only there was a quarterback available that had gone to back-to-back conference title games, a Super Bowl, and rushed for 181 yards against the Green Bay in this first playoff game. If only somebody was available now.
Wouldn't you want that on your team?
The Redskins are bringing in some quarterbacks, including E.J. Manuel, T.J. Yates, and Mark Sanchez. Mark Butt Fumble Sanchez.
Wait. The Redskins are doing that?
That's what Adam Schefter put out.
They don't, but
they need a backup for Colt McCoy.
Oh, backup for Colt McCoy.
They gotta have a backup.
Yeah. For Colt McCoy. So that means they were only carrying two quarterbacks. Okay, I got no problem with that.
I got
no problem with that.
So some information at Ben and Barry on Football for Ben. Ben and Barry on Football is also on Twitter. You can find us at BNB on Football. And again, I think we are following some awesome people. If you really come in and just take a look at some of the teams or some of the people that we're following, some really good information on the leagues, the players, et cetera, there. And if you go to our website, benandbarryonfootball.com, you will reach our channel on YouTube where we put up these videos. So again, remember, click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell, and that way you'll get the information as we put these videos out. So we've gone through social media. Generally, we have a rant or two. I'm going to stop this sharing of this information. I don't really have a rant this week. I pretty much.
Dude, you're going to have to start coming up with some rants because people are going to start thinking like I'm like this angry guy that has something crazy to say about everything.
And
so anyway, after we devolved, we're going to devolve again because I would be remiss.
Are we going to devolve toward your favorite team to hate again? Are you going to rant there again?
All right, let me be clear.
Is it the same category of rant?
Let me be clear. I do not hate the Eagles. I hate Eagle fans. And I use the term hate affectionately because hate is a very strong word, and everybody knows I don't really hate nobody. But there are things that Eagle fans say and do in the way that they act, not all of y'all, but a lot of you, that really, really, really gets on my friggin' last nerve.
There's some Eagle fans to put up some comments here.
Man. And that's
They're not showing up in the comment. Show up in the comment section.
Yeah, if you got something to say, you come
let them rant like that. You ain't gonna come back at them.
This my thing.
All right. Excuse me.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what's going to happen Sunday. The Eagles might win. The bias is in their favor. On paper, you would say probably they're a better team. They're at home. Everything's going their way. Okay. As I've been told,
the momentum hasn't been going their way.
As I've been told many, many times over the course of this season, your team stinks and all that. Okay. Just want to give you some food for thought.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. You got notes?
The Eagles beat the Giants in week 6. Since then, they lost to Carolina, stumbling Carolina. They beat Jacksonville, struggled to do it, showed some flaws. I know they showed flaws because I saw it and listened to talk radio, so I heard a ton of fans, not just the commentators, the talking heads that nobody believes in, but a ton of fans say, we got some cracks, we got some problems, I don't know, we're not sure. They had their bye week to regroup, came out, got beat at home by the Dallas Cowboys, at home, at night, black jerseys, everything going their way except the final score. And then they got annihilated by the New Orleans Saints. And I don't want to hear that, well, it was the Saints. Everybody knows they're good. Oh, we knew we was going to lose that game. I already chalked that one up as an L. You did not think they was going to destroy you like that. Now, week 6, the Eagles beat the Giants. After that, the Giants lost to Atlanta by 3, lost to Washington by a touchdown before they had their injuries, had a bye week to regroup, came back, defeated the 49ers on the road, and beat Tampa Bay in the shootout. Now, I'm not saying that should sound impressive to you. I'm just saying we're trending up. Y'all trending down. You might turn it around if you want to. You might come out on top this Sunday. But I don't think so.
Famous last words. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All righty.
I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay, dokie here. Well, are you okay now?
I'm good.
You feel better?
I'm wonderful.
All right. Well, that wraps up the Ben and Barry on Football show. This is Barry Sterling Mitchell signing off.
Go Noles.
Go Noles.